Hey guys, I'm back again for another video, and now we're going back to some superhero stuff. This time, fully taking a look at Marvel figures that I've been collecting, specifically Spider-Man figures. Lately, I've been in the mood with Spider-Man now since my love of Spider-Man kind of got reinvigorated a little bit after watching a few video essays and all that stuff, and still having a very good liking to the Sam Raimi trilogy that I still love to this day. And there's a lot of things going on. I've been trying to get into the whole craze of Spider-Man a little bit more now, and it's been pretty fun, to be honest. And right now I've been starting my figure collection, like with Spider-Man right now, but of course I'm only focusing on the figures that I'm just focused on getting. I'm not going to be getting like a giant like gallery of everything that's out there. I just only select the stuff that I want to pick up, of course, because I am also planning on making a movie somewhere in the future. Don't know when, but it'll probably be a very ambitious project as well, because I mean, it may be ambitious or it may be simple, some I don't know, but I'm thinking about it, and just for fun, I want to take my own spin on the story at least. I mean, same old, but I don't want to try to change too much up to it. I just thought of some ideas in my head about what I wanted to do for the movie, but I have no idea when I'll actually end up starting on it, because there's a lot I have to learn and think about when it comes to a Spider-Man toy movie. I mean, there's a lot to think about, really. And it might be very hard to make that type of film. I mean, it could be easy making an Indiana Jones film or a Jurassic film, but at the same time, the only thing that really has to make those films work is the script. So there's a lot to cover over that, but I'm not talking about a movie. I'm talking about figures that I've been collecting, and it's just a small collection. It's really nothing special right now. I just wanted to make this video because not only I'm kind of bored, I wanted to try to make a video of some sort, just to put something out there on my second channel. Also, just to show off some Spider-Man figures I have. I mean, it's pretty fun. But I've been collecting them so far. And some of the figures I've been collecting so far have came out of the Amazing Spider-Man movie from 2011, I think. But the toy line came out 2012, I'm assuming. I don't know, really. But the movie figures I've been collecting are from the comic series line of figures. And I'm just going to go ahead and show those particular figures at the moment. It's like how much I've been collecting. So first of all, we have the standard Spider-Man, which is called the web cannon version, I think, of Spider-Man, the web cannon version, where he dons basically the classic standard suit. And it's a pretty good looking figure, pretty decent looking figure. And honestly, I only found this one particularly loose just on its own at a relatively cheap price, because finding this figure in the package could cost you a lot more. But as you can see, the figure is basically the typical standard of Spider-Man. I mean, there's a plethora of Spider-Man figures, but of course I've been collecting the 3¾ inch style figures, and I pretty much adore the way this figure looks. Just overall, the classic look, and it's nicely detailed, nicely sculpted. It's got that enlarged spider logo at the back and all that. So again, this is basically the one that's more comic accurate, and this is the only one I own. And again, the Amazing Spider-Man movie, while I'm not a fan of it, the toy line is definitely something interesting, because they produced a lot of Spider-Man figures, a lot of interesting ones, and they definitely did came out of the comic series. And then there's another one I have, which is what is deemed the Symbiote Strike Spider-Man, which is essentially Black Suit Spider-Man, but with a lot of shade of blue. There's a lot of blue hues literally implemented into this figure, which it should have been more black, but I also really like the way this figure looked and it's structured. The torso is also not as bulky, so he has a little bit more of a standard pose, like just static a little bit more, other than being a little bit wide like that one. But the figure is pretty nice regardless of how much blue they use, and I honestly really do like this figure. It almost looks like the same sculpt, because the only thing that is sort of similar is just the arms. The arms are basically the same. And I think obviously the legs and the torso is a different feel for it. I mean, I can only say that because the legs aren't sculpted like the standard figures. So there's that particular Spider-Man, the Symbiote Strike version. I only have that loose. And then here's a figure that I've always adored so dang much in that toy line, but I just never seemed around getting it, even back then when it was out. And it was basically this Spider-Man, the grappling hook Spider-Man figure, which is also basically their own version of the mangaverse Spider-Man. I wasn't even aware this was the mangaverse, or I didn't even know what it was until a friend of mine told me. And man, do I adore this look. I don't know what it is with this look, but it is so freaking cool. The short sleeves, the sports taper bandages around his arms, but I really love this look. And overall, I also like the shoes too. It's like, I just love this look so much. Pretty cool. I mean, I may have to get to actually looking up more on the manga verse Spider-Man because it is definitely an interesting, different take on the character. But I really, really like this figure. And to be honest, I love it so much, I bought two so that I can have one for a custom figure, which I'll get into the custom figure in a little bit. But I definitely bought two of them because in my movie, which again, I don't want to mention it, but my movie will definitely have this as my standard Spider-Man to go with because I just love the way this looks because I want to try to make my own Spider-Man movie and I want this to be my suit. Yeah, I know the standard suit is the go-to, but I want this to be my suit. So yeah, I bought two of these. This one is just for a custom, so I won't actually show this off a little bit more until like afterwards or until I get like more stuff in the mail. I mean, that's basically all the Spider-Mans I have so far. I'll save the custom figures for last because that's also another thing I'm going for is customs. Alrighty, so the next figures I'm going to go ahead and go over is these two. The only two Venom figures I own so far in my collection. One of them basically that came out recently in the I think it was a Marvel Legends Retro Collection wave. I have no freaking idea. I already forgot the name, but anyway, it's a Retro Collection wave of Marvel figures that have been coming out recently. And I got this because I actually really love the look of this Venom figure. We'll take a look at the other one later, but just overall, it's a very simplistic look. It's a really nice looking Venom figure. I really like it. It obviously is based on the old Venom, the old retro style looking version of the character. Not much texture is going. It's just basically a very muscular figure. Got that nice iconic Venom smile, that Venom look, and it looks very animated. The only reason why I really bought it is not just because it looks like a really fun figure, but because it does remind me a bit of like the at least an animated rendition of the character. I mean, of course, it's based on a comic, and just couldn't help but think about the Spectacular Spider-Man, I guess. I mean, but that one was way bulkier and a little bit more stylized, but I don't know why I suddenly first reminded myself of that particular version of Venom, but whoever, we already know it's based on a comic or something. But this Venom here from the Amazing Spider-Man toy line from 2012, once again, don't really care about what tagline this had with the name, but this is a pretty cool Venom figure. Like, it's got all this veiny texture. I mean, it's supposed to be I think it's supposed to be some symbiote texture, but it's veiny as heck, and it looks extremely well detailed. I was expecting this figure to be a little bit bigger or a little bit taller, but regardless of the scale, it's incredibly cool looking. And the color scheme of it, it's definitely got some purple hues around it, but you can still see that it's a dark color, and he's got this nice sculpt on his head and the tongue and everything. Like, overall, it's just a very cool looking Venom figure. And again, I got this loose, and this figure kind of does go over a little bit of a high price, so I ended up having to get lucky trying to find one with a lower price. It's hard to track down these figures at a decent price, but that is the Venom figure, and it just looks so cool. And that's the other Venom, like classic Venom, and then there's 2012 Venom. And then here is another figure that I recently actually did get in the mail, which is Green Goblin from the same comics line from the Amazing Spider-Man toy line, and I got his glider. There's a launching mechanism on his glider, but as you can see, the Green Goblin figure looks pretty nice. Although he looks a little cross-eyed because I don't know what happened with Hasbro with the painting of these figures, but regardless, I just like the figure's overall look and the bright, vibrant colors. And this was like the one Green Goblin figure I wanted to get because it's so vibrant looking, and it's nicely detailed, nicely sculpted with all the wrinkles and folds in his chest is also sculpted very nicely too. Overall, it's a pretty cool looking figure. As far as I'm concerned, matches the overall classic look of the Green Goblin, and his glider also matches that kind of level. I think this is a specific type of glider, but overall, simple and effective. And it's got this button where you press where it just presses the missile or whatever this is. Presses that off, and it also flaps, which I don't know why it does that, but there's no real reason for it flapping. But it does have a little, it does have a sticker to let it indicate that happens. But well, yeah, there it is. Of course, he has a gimmick, so let's go ahead and place that figure just right here. fill up this thing shelf. I also got some accessories for the Spider-Man figures I have. I have these accessories, these web accessories that came out of like the Marvel Universe toy line. Like they were selling them loose on eBay. I just needed some web accessories because I can't have Spider-Man figures without some web accessories, and I'm gonna be looking for more of that stuff. So just go ahead and place that there. There's only like one more official figure that I had, which didn't really come out of the Spider-Man toy lines or anything, but it was from like a Marvel Universe toy line. I forgot which particular one, but this is like the only one that I have that isn't connected to the Spider-Man toy lines, and that is Black Cat. And the accessory was basically a spare accessory. I'm just borrowing this accessory. It's a spare accessory from Selena Kyle Batman figure. Selena Kyle, Catwoman, whatever. But it's from the Batman movie line from 2022. And I'm just borrowing this whip because I don't really have an actual whip. And the figure itself didn't really come in an accessory when it was released. But I was going to have to throw that out. But let's get a closer look at the Black Cat figure, because this is like the only 3/4 inch Black Cat figure that actually looks really cool. And not to mention, it is nicely sculpted. Like, just overall, the posture, the anatomy. Do I dare need to say it? But seriously, it's just a really amazing sculpt and a really cool figure. The only problem I do have with it are the hands. I wish they would have been a little bit more open, a little bit more posable with the hands. But this is the only one that's open. So it is a shame there, but regardless, it's a nicely sculpted figure. That likeness is very Black Cat-esque. I really like the hair, the way it looks. It's just overall very, very cool figure. And it's the only Black Cat figure I own in this scale. So I'm going to put that right there. Make sure she stands up well because her ankles are a tiny bit loose. Not too much, but she's not going to fall down anytime. Anyways, now the last 3 figures I'm going to be taking a look at are basically custom figures that I've been coming up with. So this one is just basically an easy one I'll go over, which is basically a head swap of 2 Jurassic World figures I have, which I bought extra ones. So I have Gwen Stacy using the head of Jurassic World Dominion Ellie Sattler. If you can see, there we go, there's the head sculpt. And yeah, I know it's Laura Dern's likeness on here, but I just really like how the hair matches a Gwen Stacy look, and I just think regardless of the likeness matching still to Laura Dern. And this was actually one I bought on eBay like separately, but I luckily did find one with a better face paint. Actually, my other one, I switched the head right back to my standard Ellie, so I still have an extra one sitting around. But yeah, the body is obviously from the Claire Dearing figure of Dominion as well. I just think that the overall look of Gwen Stacy kind of is exemplified in this figure. I don't know what it is really, but it really does remind me of Gwen Stacy. Now I know Bryce Dallas Howard played Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man 3. I could have easily used one of the Fallen Kingdom heads of Claire Dearing, which, yeah, that could work. I could try that. But again, if I'm going to be doing a Spider-Man toy movie of my own, I kind of do want to use a different head. I mean, yeah, sure, I would love to have a Bryce Dallas Howard custom Gwen Stacy. And again, the Mattel figures aren't nearly as tall as the Hasbro figures. They kind of go a tiny little few more centimeters higher. But yeah, that's basically those. And the last 2 figures I'm going to go over. So this one I'm going to show off next, which I think I definitely showed off a little bit previously in like community posts on both my first and second channel, which is Mary Jane Watson. And I had to update this one because this one took a lot more to get used to the updating. You can get to the likeness, you can show it. You can do better than that. There you go. So of course I used the head of a Dominion Claire Dearing because I just definitely like how the hair flows down, and repainted her hair to make it look more like Mary Jane Watson. Of course, how it should look like. And I just definitely think that it matches. In my opinion, it kind of matches what I want the figure to look like. I still do have the standard comic book accurate head of Mary Jane, but it didn't look too great in my opinion. I mean, it's not terrible, but it didn't look too great in my personal opinion. I just overall wanted a much better looking Mary Jane figure, so I'm fine with that. Also, I used the like not included accessory that came with like the Russian soldiers from Crystal Skull, the Indiana Jones Crystal Skull toy line. I mean, I've already reviewed that, so I have some use for this particular satchel. I might get rid of that red star, or I might just do something about the red star. I don't know, because right now I'll just keep it the way it is. hardly the red star even show up on camera because of how blurry it is. But yeah, this is the Mary Jane figure. I just had to revamp it a bit. I wish there was a little bit more 3D quarter range figures made for Mary Jane, because this is the only one that exists, and I just had to revamp it just using a different head and all that, and also repainted the neck joint to make it more like supposedly matching the color of Claire's head. But that's Mary Jane, my only Mary Jane in 3D quarter range form. And the final figure I'm going to go over is a custom figure that I had to make because I have all these Spider-Mans and no Peter Parker. So yeah, that is my next custom. The last figure I'll show off is Peter Parker. And here it is. Now, I'll explain. You already know what the head sculpt is, or what it kind of looks like, so someone's gonna be saying it in the comments, but hear me out. This is the only type of look I wanted for my Peter Parker in like my particular Spider-Man movie. So as you can see, I found a custom head sculpt of Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil. So I was like, I don't know what it is, but his likeness, it struck to me. And I definitely like his hairstyle. So I wanted to try that out. And I think to me it stuck. It stuck with me. So I love it. I chose the head for that particular reason. And overall, it's not entirely perfect because I think the eyes could have been a little bit better on this custom, but you can see his eyes. It looks okay, I guess, from this distance, because going close up, you can see that they were obviously like, it doesn't look like much. But I had to wait like at least like 2-3 weeks for this to ship. Definitely bought another one just for one of these. Like I said, I want this one to be my standard Spider-Man outfit, so I bought another one just to get another Leon Kennedy head for my Peter Parker custom. Like this one for a maskless Spider-Man. At least that's what I want to do. And okay, enough with the head, because again, we already know that the head sculpt matches Leon Kennedy, but I absolutely really adore it, and I think it fits, at least for me. Anyway, the arms of this figure, like I did mention before in one of my Indiana Jones figure reviews, that I was planning on making a custom. So this was basically the custom. I took the Temple Trap Indiana Jones figure I had, switched the arms out and the jacket, and put that on this figure. And the whole body, the rest of the body, is the Mutt Williams figure with the motorcycle, the deluxe Mutt Williams figure, which I definitely bought an extra one. And the feet, I had to change the boots because he was definitely short. He was on the short scale. So I bought another Mongaverse Spider-Man figure, but this time it was a damaged up one that I bought for custom. So it only cost me like $5 to go get that one. And I got that one, and I repainted the boots to be gray. I had not painted the underside of them because I don't think I feel a need to. I should. But yeah, I painted his shoes gray with a hint of black on there. At least I tried with that. But how I definitely did this was like cut off on an ankle portion, at least above the ankle. It just crammed it in the peg hole. Or at least I made more room by using my X-Acto knife and crammed it in the peg hole, super gluing it, and now he's got new boots that fits the scale for Mary Jane. Because that was another issue I had, is that I made the Mary Jane figure and she's tall, like real tall. And Peter was only on the same scale as Gwen and Stacy at the time. So when I recustomized it and added those boots to Peter Parker, he is much more taller now, just as tall as Mary Jane is what I really planned for. That's all the figures I've been collecting. I will probably be making another video someday when I start collecting more Spider-Man figures, and I'll also be giving an update on the revamped maskless Spider-Man with this particular figure, because I definitely am excited for that. Like, yeah, it's been really fun, and honestly, I can't help it. I adored the way I did the Peter figure. That's what I really wanted to go for. So anyway, that is it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll be seeing you guys later.